People deluded. Now, I can't lie to you lot. I feel sorry for Mustafi, man. Like, obviously, I believe in fair criticism, and if we're honest, Mustafi hasn't been good enough. He's actually had spells while he's been here where he's played all right, and there's actually been big games he's played all right. But more often than not, it's comical mistakes. 9 times out of 10, any player, the likes of Hazards, the Sterlings, the Sergio Agueros, any top player in the Premier League, you go and look at a compilation of their best recent results or best recent games or goals, and you'll find Mustafi getting ripped or just being torn to shreds somewhere. Obviously, he hit a new low against Dubai where he just looked out of play, out of touch. He was slipping and sliding around throughout the whole game, in my opinion, and he just hasn't cut the mustard this season. I feel he should be let go. I feel he's possibly one of the worst centre-halves I've seen play for this club. I deeped it the other day for the money spent, and my personal expectations just didn't hit it. But I feel sorry for him, man. I feel sorry for him. There's fair criticism, and then there's also witch hunting and things like that. And I do feel at times there are games don't get me wrong, 9 times out of 10 he's terrible. 10 games, I think he'll give me 9 terrible games. But there's been games, like even in the Europa League the other week where we lost the first leg and he was played. He weren't the worst defender in the back four, but he got stick for it. Obviously, Mustafi isn't good enough, but with the likes of Mustafi, Xhaka, Rose, or a couple others, people have made their camps. And also feel as a professional footballer, obviously, you've got to be open to criticism. But some of what Mustafi gets is vile, man. And I also have to think about, like, I think he's a strong-minded individual if you listen to what he says off the field and how he appears to me to be one of the key members vocally of the group and stuff. But you're a professional footballer. I don't think he's sitting there and looking at social media, but when you're seeing everybody saying the same thing, when you're seeing, obviously Petit's very outspoken, but you're seeing Petit, Ian Wright, and not just them, but just them just offering their opinions about Mustafi. Sometimes it's not Ian Wright's case, definitely Petit. It's quite, I wouldn't say personal because he's not talking about his family or something, but it is very personal. It's always, there's comments about not being able to think and things like that, which I agree with, but by the same logic, would you feel healthy? Would you feel like it would knock your confidence? Because he's a professional footballer. I don't personally, on one hand, I always say this, I don't feel he's looking at his performances well enough because Unai Emery came with the video analysis stuff. He's a professional athlete. I can't see how he consistently makes the same mistakes year in, year out. You have a lot of free time. You have a lot of analysts available to you. Are you not watching your own games back? But by the same logic, athletes are some of the most self-critical people. So he probably knows what he does well, what he does wrong, or he probably keeps a lot of these voices in his head. So when he goes out on the football field, is he necessarily free in the mind? I think a lot of people, I say that all the time, but I feel a lot of people forget, like, football is very much a confidence thing. I've seen players young, even now, the other day, Sunday, I saw a player who was quite frankly, pardon me, crap people, but he was very outspoken, he was very brave in the dribbles and things he does. I came back and I spoke to one of the coaches, he's been signed by a club. Now there's a player that plays for that same club, can hit a ball on a sixpence, trust me people, technically gifted, almost like a Johan Cruyff sort of thing, but he's very much, plays within himself, very much a shy boy, shy sort of kid, and he can play well, but he needs a lot of encouragement, so he doesn't necessarily stand out. So you see what confidence can do for you people. Confidence is the single biggest thing, and being able to play free of the mind. You look at Raheem Sterling with all the noise that was constantly surrounding him, which a lot of it was just, the majority, in fact, all of it 9 times out of 10 was just, quite frankly, a racial witch hunt. How can you go onto the football field when all of these things and all of these, you're seeing all these people on match days, how can you go into a football field and play 90 minutes to your best ability if you're consistently thinking? You get it? For me, Iwobi and Bellerin, 2 players who, a lot of people chop and change. Bellerin's earned a lot of plaudits, so has Iwobi this year. Some of the criticism is warranted, but a lot of it is vile. And they're 2 players I feel people made their minds up to. I think with Iwobi now, he similar to, not on Sterling's level, but similar to Sterling. If he misses a tap-in or the dribble's not completed, he still keeps his head up. He still keeps going. For me, Bellerin's was slightly different in that when he first came on the scene, he was very brave. For me, I think at times, his pass is not expansive, but at times I don't feel he played the brave pass, or I think he played it safe. Again, I'm just speculating, but I think a lot of that was because they knew their names was going to be screamed out on YouTube channels and in Twitter and things like that. So I'm by no means defending Mustafi. He's been poor. But I'm just saying, like, I'm thinking just broadly how much does this sort of thing psychologically play on you, man? And he's got to be strong mentally. Again, at the end of the day, if you're not cutting it, you're not cutting it. And the majority of fans, the criticism is warranted and is kept to just what he does on a football field. And many people look at it with a balanced point of view. But obviously, you get the people that, quite frankly, probably hate him. Like, I don't understand how you can hate a footballer unless they've done something racial or had some mad view or done some mad acts, indecent act and troubled someone. I don't say you could hate someone. Like, Drogba, for instance, has terrorised Arsenal. Hate is a strong word. Like I said, dislike him as a footballer purely because when he plays Arsenal. But you can see he's a good baller, and you see where I'm going with that. Like, hate is a strong word. Some people appear to genuinely hate Mustafi. Like, you don't know the man to hate him. You just hate how he's playing. He's got to be able to do it, man. But I just got to wonder, like, he probably knows more than anyone he's playing poor. I'm pretty sure Unai Emery must have told him he's playing poor, even when it came to Unai Emery dropping him the other week finally. And Unai Emery knows he's poor. He allegedly tried to move him on, but he kept him in the side, and he's giving him, for whatever reason, chance after chance, and he keeps being let down. So I assume Unai Emery and them, man, they are telling you what you need to do. In fact, how to improve. In fact, I'm so sure Mustafi was one of them that was very vocal about Unai Emery at the start, saying how he tells us what we need to do, where we need to be at every single time, and I believe he's doing that. But are you listening? You need to go and get your pen and pad and deep what he's saying properly, people, and really say, Mr. Calcedo, Mr. Emery, okay, get tighter, this and that. Do you see what I'm saying? Now, you lot know me. I give chance after chance after chance after chance after chance to people. I don't like to. I'll be one of the last people to give up on a player or a person. I really wanted Mustafi to make it work, people. I was excited when Mustafi came. I didn't feel he was perfect, but I felt he was a class above what we had. And for years, we know we needed a centre-half. He looked to be that. Obviously, I don't want to. Being a World Cup winner don't mean you're a good footballer necessarily, innit? Because we can bring up stupid examples of players that have won the champs and that are not good enough. But World Cup winner, being in that dressing room with Germany, I would have thought he had a certain pedigree. See what I'm saying, people? Rebuilt himself after Everton, done his thing at Valencia, aggressive sort of centre-half, vocal sort of centre-half. He should realistically, I was looking at Mustafi realistically in a couple years' time, because of his age and stuff, to take over from Koscielny, to be the captain. Because what we've seen from Socrates this season, and he ain't been amazing. Out of 10, it's been a 7, 8 for me. He's been pretty good, but amazing is a strong one. That's what we wanted to see from Mustafi, and he's shown that in patches, but it just hasn't been there. Mustafi should be our best centre-half on paper because of his pedigree and his wages, not his wages, sorry, the transfer fee and what he's done in football, what he appears he's done in football from his CV. He should be someone that's one of Unai Emery's captains in and them things there, and it's not there. It's not there. Mustafi, it might be a thing. If Mustafi goes to another team or another league or somewhere, it might click for him. It happens to a lot of ballers, and then you sit there. He's an extreme example, of course, but then you sit there and think, oh, rah, what happened there? Look at Gabriel. It's slightly different, but look at Gabriel. He went to Valencia and he looks a good player again. You see what I'm saying? And people are there saying, oh, why did we let him go? We let him go because 9 times out of 10, bar the occasional run in the side at fullback where he's consistent, he just wasn't quite there. You go and remember his performance against Liverpool, what Rashford done against United, it weren't quite there. He goes to Valencia under a manager who has a better defensive system than us at the time, I was preying him like that for Valencia, statistically backed up with Marcelino. I don't even know if he's still there, to have one of the best defences in La Liga. So that's a system that he's going in. Of course, if they've got a better defensive system in a drilled unit, they're going to look better, but you see what I'm saying? Sometimes you just need the new environment. And that could be him. I don't think so, but yeah, the trouble with obviously moving Mustafi on is his wages now. And if I'm honest with you, Arsenal paid 35 million. We've got to take a hit and just beg someone to take him for 10, 15. But if I was a club if Arsenal's offered Mustafi around Europe and stuff, and I'm a potential club with that, for whatever reason I've conceded that I want him in it, unless it's max 15, maybe I'm even being nice here, but 20 in add-ons in that. If it's none of that, if it's past that, or if it's anything close to that, really, anything past 15, I'm trying to do a loan with an option to buy sort of thing, to twang it and see what he's doing. He might go back to Italy and look twice the defender. He might go to Spain and return and look twice the defender. But here it's not happening. 2 different managers, same results. Holding's improved. Bellerin's improved. Iwobi's improved. Couple other men have even improved in certain aspects. You see what I'm saying? Mkhitaryan's pulled his finger out and moving mad on the football team this season. Ramsey's moving mad again, even though he's gone. Mustafi's not improved at all. He's had good games, but he's not improved at all. He's not improved. And that's 2 managers now. For whatever you say about Unai Emery, or whatever you had to say about Wenger, that's 2 different managers. You're not seeing anything. I say, even myself, I've said he's played well in patches because I think he has. But if you're asking me games I think Mustafi has played solid in, I'm going to have to go back and review people. The first one would be PSG because I think that was one of his first games. I think he played quite well against PSG once. And I'll be fair to him, I think he's played well a couple of times against Spurs. Not recently, but against Spurs. Wait, no, the home game he was alright. There's been a couple of occasions, but I'm here scratching my head, people. Do you see what I'm saying? I'm having to think it. You're seeing me squint up my eye and them thing there. Like when I used to take pictures as a young G and that. Like try to look buff and that, even though I am buff. But we're going off topic, people, man. That's all I wanted to say about Mustafi, man. So while I think he needs to be moved on, I always think about these things, man. How much of it psychologically is this having an effect on you, man? In the same way, I always wonder, like, these players don't live in a bubble. What did they feel about the club? I know they rate Unai Emery, but what did Unai Emery and the coach and the players and the coaching staff, the close unit, what did they feel? Because they're almost a family. When they're seeing other clubs progress, when they're seeing other clubs do certain things, what do they think about the culture of the club? Like, does Unai Emery and them man sit in an office and say, yeah, man, I know I would like to sign that player, but we ain't got the money for that, man. We've got to work with what we've got, people. Or if you don't want to include Unai Emery in the example, the players, they've got to be reading the newspapers, talking to their friends at other clubs. They're doing this, they're buying that guy. And you've got to think, like, why are we trying to get players on loan? Why we ain't got money for a centre-half? Like, these players don't live in a bubble. Professional athletes are some of the most self-reflecting individuals on this earth, so they undoubtedly know what's what. And for what it's worth, I feel Mustafi is a strong-minded individual, and that's testament to his background. Even one thing I'll give him, he is brave, man. So I don't feel it will play too much on him mentally, but at times he has it. I'll be honest, it does look like he's not confident and things like that, man. And that's probably now. And regardless of if I think he should be moved on or not, man, from a basic human point of view, you want to see someone feel as good as they possibly can. So again, this is nothing but speculating, and I just feel Mustafi's just a terrible footballer. But at the same time, yeah, man, like, this has got to be playing on him, man. I'm not getting at Unai Emery anymore, or what I mean by this in a sense that in a sense of, it's got to the point, Mustafi, like, I don't even blame Mustafi because he's not picking himself in it. Like, obviously I don't blame Unai Emery, but he's picking himself in it. Like, he's not picking himself. So I'm not saying to blame the manager, but it's like, you know when you just past the point of blaming a player or just saying, why did you do this? Like, why did you actually do this? Yeah, I think Unai Emery wants to move him on, but I'd love to know his reasons for starting him ahead of the likes of Mavropanos, who's now back from his injury. Holding got in the side, but I'm so sure Mustafi was ahead of him, and several other examples. Obviously Socrates and Koscielny now, but I'd just love to know, man. There might be a reason, man. For instance, Mustafi's communication with the centre halves might be what saves him ahead of the young G's getting chances. Because I would like someone like Mavropanos, for instance, to start. I know we don't see him at training or day to day. I know he's had injuries, so I've got to factor that in. But for me, just as a humble fan, I would rather Mavropanos play knowing that there's a chance because of his inexperiences he's going to concede a goal or he's going to do something dumb. Obviously, I would like him not to do that, or like an experienced guy who won't do that, but I'd rather concede that because he's learning his craft and he actually looks like he has a future and a promise, rather than Mustafi, because Mustafi for the last 2-3 years, however long he's been here, has not learned from his mistake, and a mistake made more than once in my book is a choice, so he's choosing to do this. You've had two managers, two different coaching staff and way of doing things, probably got different analysts to show you things, and I can't get it. Even teammates, like, when we used to play Sunday League, obviously the manager will say what's what, but out there, people be like, oh, DG, you should have got tighter for him. I'll be like, oh, Joe Bloggs, you should have cut across. Surely the players have got to be saying to Mustafi, yeah, man, why do you keep getting tight? Why do you keep doing that? You need to try to do this. Why don't you pattern up this? Surely, people. I'm not sure, innit, but I've said bare stuff. I've gone left and right, so let me just end it on that, people. So yeah, man, people, Deluded, thank you for watching and persisting with me. It means a lot. Hit the like, subscribe, and the rest of it. I'm out.